I remember when gay marriage was first legalized, and my dad was in the car arguing against it because one of the points he used to argue was that it was a slippery slope. He said if they let men marry men or women marry women, next they'll let people marry animals or children. Even at age 14, I knew this argument was stupid. There was a big difference between two adults marrying each other and those other situations. Consent. Animals and children cannot give consent to sexual interactions or to marriage. However, this hasn't stopped many from trying to create credibility for these causes or to discredit the LGBT community by lumping them in with the rest. In 2019, a smear campaign attempted to convince people that the LGBT community was now accepting pedosexual as a valid sexuality beneath the LGBT umbrella. This in turn led to the LGBT Foundation to make a statement where they stated, "We have been made aware of misinformation being spread on some online forums regarding LGBT Foundation and pedosexuality, including an image promoting pedosexuality with our logo and website photoshopped onto the bottom. We want to make it categorically clear that this is not in any way affiliated with us and is false and misleading. LGBT Foundation is a charity that represents and provides services to lesbian, gay, bisexual, and trans people, and in no way condones the inclusion of pedophilia as a minority sexual orientation. This image was created in order to smear LGBT Foundation and the communities we serve, and to dissuade LGBT people from seeking support from us." Part of the reason why pedos try to attach themselves to the LGBT community is because we were once, not long ago, widely considered by both society and the scientific community to be sexual deviants and mentally disordered. Paraphilias like bestiality and pedophilia are still considered to be sexually deviant and expressions of mental disorders. They simply view themselves as being one step away from being accepted, as we now are. And why shouldn't they? Consider how 14 and 15-year-olds look now, the fashions they wear, and their skills of makeup. Who are they performing this facade of sexuality and adulthood for? When Bad Baby turned 18, you only had to look so far as the comment section to find adult men admitting to lusting after her for years. Online communities of MAPs, minor attracted individuals, a renaming meant to hide the true nature of the community, have sprung up everywhere, from Tumblr to Twitter and everywhere in between. In one Facebook post, a user shared a status of collected photos of the men and women who were proudly identifying as MAPs. This is where I learned that a sect of the MAP community also identify as no MAPs, or non-offending minor attracted persons. That's their way of stating that they keep their hands to themselves despite their sexual desires directed at children. Support systems have popped up for MAPs and no MAPs, seemingly established with the intent of intervening before they can harm an innocent child, and there have even been writers who have come to their defense and claimed themselves as allies to the MAP community. They want you to believe it is a mental illness. Phelan Fairchild, the writer of that article, is a trans woman, and found the way that they have discussed their disorder to be uncomfortably close to the rhetoric used to campaign for LGBT causes. She stated, "What absolutely blew my mind is that they were sharing their photos and discussing their fears at outing themselves as if they were victims of social oppression or religiously motivated constructs of unprovoked fear and hatred. I was startled at how they had postured themselves in such the same way as the LGBT community had, as we squared off with politics and religion to earn acknowledgement, equality, and pride." There are plenty of YouTubers who have discussed specific examples of MAPs online, and even some IRL cases where people have grown entirely too comfortable with these identities. Creepshow Art is a good resource for these types of stories, and I recommend checking out her channel if you're interested in hearing more about specific cases. The bottom line is that pedophilia is not a sexual orientation. It is a form of deviancy and a mental disorder. It is incredibly hard to treat people with this disorder with compassion, as any sane individual's first reaction will undoubtedly be disgust. But it is important that we make this distinction. Pedophilia is a mental illness, and one that must be addressed and treated to prevent harm from coming to children and young individuals. I'm in no way saying that we should lessen the stigma against it, but if you or a loved one needs help, I suggest reaching out and looking for it. This, dear viewers, is where we part. Thank you for sticking around for such an uncomfortable topic. I dislike it as much as anyone, but I think it's important to at least discuss the reasoning as to why they want to be included so that we can better gatekeep them out. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you all next time.